All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of our Box Lunch program. On behalf of the Fort Worth Community Arts Center, we would like to welcome everybody. My name is Jason Leyva, and today we continue on with our focus on our original work series. And we are so very, very excited to have another wonderful author with us today, the one and only Leigh Moore. How you doing today, Leigh?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good, good. We are
Good.
so excited to have you. Now,
Thank
before
you.
we get into all of this great information, do you mind taking just a moment and introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
Well, my name is, I go by Leigh Wyatt Moore, and primarily I'm a wife and a mom. I've got 3 kids, and we're empty nesters now, finally. I'm an actor first, then a director, and got wrangled into being a co-author. So it probably won't happen again, but but I thoroughly enjoyed doing it this time. Just spending time at home. I'm a knitter and a crocheter, so I do a lot of that, have my own little business selling stuff and just patiently waiting for all this to be over so that we can get back to the theater. I'm also the house manager for Richardson Theater Center. So we've been doing a lot of improvements and upgrades and renovations there. So a lot of my spare time I've spent up there. But other than that, I'm just waiting patiently like everybody else and wearing my mask when I go anywhere.
Well, we are indeed thankful for that.
Yes.
And more importantly, we are very, very thankful that you did at some point, I guess. I don't know if it was during the pandemic or before the pandemic, but we are so very grateful that you did find a way to get a submission into our original work series.
That would have been my partner, Rusty, that did that.
I was
Rusty
gonna
Harding.
say,
Yeah.
Now, you had a co-author for this particular script, and
Yeah.
he was not able to join us. So I'm
No.
going to throw the spotlight on you and allow you to give his bio a real brief shout out to him. And
I can do that.
Say whatever you want, because he's not here to defend himself. So have at it. And let us spin just a little bit on the one and only Rusty, I believe.
Rusty Harding. Yeah, he's lucky because I like him a lot. We've been friends for, gosh, it's been over 10 years, involved in a few different theater companies. He is an engineer by trade, and he just is a talented author and got sucked into a theater group and started writing plays, and who knew, he's really good at it. So he and I started a small little theater company back in, I think it was 13, and we did 3 different productions. All 3 of them were published and were successful. And we both decided through a lot of communication and a lot of prayer that we decided that it was just a little too hard. And we wanted to devote our time and our energies and our finances to helping one particular theater, and that's Richardson Theater Center. So he and I are more involved there pretty much than anywhere else. He's also a very talented actor. Who knew? He just kind of, it's one of those ones that can just walk on and do it. And you're like, I hate you. No training, no nothing. So, but he's a wonderful guy. Like I said, a very good author. And I approached him about the idea for this show, and he kind of ran with it.
Nice. Well, shout out to Rusty. We're sorry you couldn't be here, but we are going to talk you up today. So hopefully he'll get a little lunch break and be able to at least maybe catch a little bit of this. And if nothing else, we'll make sure.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, he'll be able to come back. That's the beauty of Facebook. It's there forever.
Yeah. True. So true.
All right. So what is on your lunch menu today?
Oh, well, I'm not a big lunch eater. So today it is butternut squash ravioli from Lean Cuisine.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes,
I am also
one of my favorites.
No, you go ahead. Build them up as well. Is the butternut your favorite lean cuisine?
It's one of my favorites. So yeah, it was the only one I actually had left in the freezer.
Sometimes that makes all the decisions for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am also going to delve into one of my favorites today, which if anyone has seen Box Lunch, I think I've had more barbecue than about anything else. So
Yum.
today I am going to have a hot link sandwich that is somewhat homemade because I'm using the hot links and I'm using the barbecue sauce from the one and only Red Hot and Blue.
Oh, nice.
So little tip for those of you out there, if you're reheating barbecue leftovers, I myself don't like to put it in the microwave because it makes the meat too chewy. So I just put it in a little saucepan and then I take their barbecue sauce and pour it on there. And then I just put it on a low heat. I let that heat right up and then it tends to keep a lot of those juices and flavor in. I also am a big fan of Texas toast. So I went ahead and toasted my bread there. And I'll let that heat up while we visit. And then I'll sit here and slobber and drool while I smell it behind me and show you guys how wonderful it is as we finish up our interview.
And you have the potato salad, right?
I do have the potato salad. You know, I thought I'm already drooling. I thought I'd stay with
the potato salad. It really is.
Keep bringing it up, I'm going to have to get it out of the refrigerator and have that as a
no, because I can't watch you eat the potato salad.
All right, so Leigh, we're going to get into it here, and I'm curious, how has your playwriting been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Not at all. Because honestly, Ashes, it was a one and done for me. It's when I gave Rusty the idea, fully meaning here, write this. And when he challenged me to join him and be a part of that, I really wasn't all that excited about that. But so it's literally, it will be a one and done kind of thing. I loved doing it. I was challenged by it, but the COVID has really more affected me as an actor, of course, and a director, just not being able to be on stage.
Gotcha. Now, we talked a little bit off camera. That's not 100% true. Now, we're a year into the pandemic, and you say that you also do a lot of acting and directing, and you have had some opportunities, if I'm understanding that as well. So I'll even ask that as well. What sort of challenges have you faced with that? I mean, obviously the obvious ones are there. You personally, what are some of the things that people may not realize have been struggles in the arts industry as a writer, a director, or an actor? What are some things that people may not be aware of outside of just not being able to go into the building because of the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, as actors, when you're working on a show, and you know this too, because you're an actor, it's such a personal experience that you're not only emotionally close to your fellow actors, you're physically close, and you can't just do a normal play 6 feet apart. We can't. The emotions are not going to be there. The motivation is, for lack of a better word, it's just not going to feel the same. And so it's been, I've been lucky that I've been asked to do a couple radio shows where we have been able to socially distance ourselves as actors on stage and go up and read our lines at a microphone that are 6 feet apart across the stage in front of a socially distanced audience, which is odd because you can't feel the audience. But it's with a radio show with that type of format and only a week or so of rehearsal, as an actor, you don't, and even as the director, you don't have time, you don't have the opportunity to develop those the characters in the show. You don't have time to develop the relationships that you're building, not only with the other characters, but with the other actors. Because whether you're rehearsing for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, you develop a family within that show. And when it's time to perform and you're all together as a family and as a cohesive unit moving together on stage, and you just don't, You don't really get that with a radio show, but it was a good small little itch on that screen.
A little breath of art.
A little way to be on stage and to feed just a little bit of that empty hole that has been there.
Yeah, we'll take all we can get,
Yeah.
I find it so interesting. And, it took us a couple of emails to make sure that we got things scheduled for the box lunch episode. And the one thing that I find so interesting is that all of Rusty's emails said, I don't need to be there. Lee did all the work. And I talked to you and you keep saying, well, Rusty did all the work. So I'm really kind of curious about this particular writing process that you two are great about building each other up. How did this co-writing thing physically happen? Did Rusty write a page, send it to you? Did you improv things, conversations? How did this all play out?
I was fortunate that I got to do Lion in Winter. I played the Queen at Allen's Community Theater in 2017. And that kind of started the whole thing in my mind. Is I love this character. She is amazing. So I started doing research, and my suite director, Robin Mead, gave me a book about her as a show gift, and it was just such a treasured gift. And I started reading it, and it made me go and do more research about who she was, who Henry was, what awful people they truly were.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, but so fascinating. And so I remember calling Rusty saying, what are the ramifications of, or the possibilities of, writing a sequel? And he says, well, I'll look into it. So he called his publishers, and they basically said, well, they're real people. William Goldman didn't create the people. He just created the scenario in which Lion presents itself.
Yes.
We can't reference anything in Lion besides the people. We couldn't say it was a continuation of Lion, but we can pretty much write another story or or just a continuation in their life.
Right.
So the research started, and Rusty is a master of research. And so Henry dies, basically. Lion takes place in 1183. Henry dies 6 years later, and she outlived all of them except for 2 of her kids, and she had 10. So we can write this story. We can write the story that we want to write, and we based it around Henry's death. So, and it had the typical characters. It had Alice, it had Richard and John, and Henry and Eleanor. But then we wanted more people, of course. So we brought in Eleanor's sister, which she had a younger sister. Her name was Petra. And we brought in a young knight, which was based on a real person. And then we brought in a priest, which was kind of like a confessor to Henry, and developed this story around Henry's death and how he's calling Eleanor and Petra and Alice to him to help him in making sure that the right son ascends to the throne. And we had a lot of fun. And basically Rusty challenged me to write Henry and Eleanor scenes because I'm the most familiar with them. And I did not want to do it. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm really good. And he just kept challenging me. And so through a lot of wringing of my hands and prayer and going, okay, Lord, give me some words to say here. I would literally, it would wake me up at night, and I would write things down or record them on my phone. So I think the passion that I had for the characters really helped. And the knowledge that I had of who they were helped. So I wrote, I'm going to say a fourth, maybe not even that much. So I would stream of conscious write and just write all this stuff down and send it to him. And then he took that and divided it into scenes and created this. And then he'd send it to me, and I'd say, okay, I really want to use this here. Is that okay? And he wrote everything else, but I mainly focused on the King and the Queen.
Wow. Yeah, for those that don't know, I believe Lion in Winter is one of the quintessential family dramas. And
oh my God. And it's
you
so
know,
funny.
it
People don't
is.
realize just how funny it is.
It really is. And just between a little secret for you, way back in, I don't know, 92, 93, I had the opportunity to play John in Lion in Winter. And it was one of the most gratifying roles I've ever done. And here's why. He doesn't
He's
have a
such a
lot of
great-
lines. I got to lay on the stage floor and
But-
watch these masterful characters and actors work.
Yeah.
I was enthralled by that show. It is one of my favorites. It absolutely is incredible. And for those who aren't able to see the stage version anytime soon,
Mhm.
I'm hoping that at least most of us are aware that there is a fantastic
Incredible
movie out
film,
there
yeah.
as well. And some of the best acting that you will
Mhm.
ever see by some of the greatest talents to ever share the screen, for sure. But we're not talking about that one.
No.
Will you now share the title of this particular work that you and Rusty submitted this year?
We really had a hard time and kind of wrestled with trying to find a title that would be unique, but also people that were fans of Lion or Henry and Eleanor, it would catch their attention. So it's called The Ashes of Aquitaine, the final story of Henry and Eleanor. And where Lion is really Henry's story, Ashes is hers.
We did a great job of balancing things out, for sure. And, I'm curious. Now, you keep saying this is the only thing you've written. What was more challenging for you, even in your stream of conscious? Where would you find yourself struggling? In the historical relevance of trying to be consistent with what actually happened, or in trying to create a fictional opportunity to expand on a character that you obviously love very much?
Yeah. Well, it also, yes, the expanding on her character. The difficult thing for me was trying not to write her from the point of view of how I would want to portray her. And that selfishly, I think, I know some of that is what I did.
We're human.
Because she's so rich and she's so powerful and she's sexy and she's funny and she's strong and she's belligerent and there was so many different things about her, and I wanted her passion to come through, and I wanted her hatred and love of him to come through. But also at this point, she's been in prison for at least 16, 17 years. And so the frustration of that had to come through too. And just her feeling of, I'm done. Because in reality, when he died, she wasn't anywhere around. He probably put her in jail and never saw her again. So we see in Lion that he brings her out. So in Ashes, he brings her out. And this is the last time that they see each other. And so I wanted it to be her opportunity to basically tell him, you ruined my life. I gave you all that I was and all that I could be. And because you couldn't keep your pants on, and I wanted that passion to come through from her. And so I don't want to spoil too much of it, but we wanted it to come through from him too, and a realization of, yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah, well, I think it certainly does. One of the things that I find so interesting, and I'm always so curious about, Lion and Winter is such a chess game, right?
Oh my gosh.
How do you see? Were you consciously attempting to mirror those moving pieces? I know there's a lot of characters in this one, and so is this a chessboard? Is it a card game? Were you trying to emulate some of that movement and manipulation that these two were just brilliant at? Or did you
so
really try to
cool.
settle more down and into an emotional kind of connection and relationship between the two of them?
That's really, it's cool that you say that. And a little plug here for a friend of mine. The set that Alan used, the floor was a chessboard. And so the way that the director was constantly, especially in Act 2, when Henry and Eleanor had that big, huge fight scene, she had us constantly moving on stage. And so I tried to keep that in the forefront of my mind, especially in their second scene together in Ashes. I wanted, it's more, it can't be a physical chess game like Lion can, because he's stuck in bed.
Right.
So it has to be verbally that way. So he always one-upped her before. So in this, it's always her one-upping him and topping him. So, and that's why I say this is more of her story. She starts the show, she ends the show. It's definitely her vehicle here. Right. And so wanting to make sure that she always was on top at the end of each scene. She was in control with this, in this show, where he was in control in Lion.
Yeah, there's a really nice balance of weakness and power in this particular script, and I really love the way you guys played with that. And it's just a really real fun journey. And how did you decide which characters to pull into this to support their relationship? Did you read a lot of history and say, oh, well, that person would be a wonderful foil? Or did it just kind of come out of a selection of, let's put these people in to make this play or option for them to move the story forward?
Probably a little bit of both. The first draft had King Philip in it, and Philip was the son of Louis, who was Eleanor's first husband. And then we realized we really didn't need him. He was just kind of a body, and so we took him out. I wanted more females in the show, and so since she had a real life sister, I thought, let's bring Petra in, because she also acts as a foil to Henry.
Yes.
Because she just doesn't care. And the life that she led, and losing her husband and having her marriage annulled because she cheated, and then she ended up being in a convent. So it was kind of a nice to bring Petra in as a way of Henry trying to use Petra to get to Eleanor. So I wanted another female. William Talvis is the young knight who this was total Rusty. He's based on a real person. And so we wanted someone, because Alice had to have closure. And we really didn't want Alice to end up with Richard or John, because they're both just jerks. So we needed closure. We needed a happy ending for her. And so, and William is just, and it flips where William is so young and Alice is older. So it kind of flipped the Henry and Alice story, which was nice. Father Alban was a total rusty thing too. And I think it ended up being a beautiful addition to the story, because he is this strong, supposed man of God that is standing between Henry and God, but is standing between Henry and Eleanor.
Sure.
They don't like each other at all. And so he's a nice foil between them. And it's kind of like a little triangle between the three of them. And it's such a, it's a neat little twist, I think. And then we have our servant girl, Catherine, who we needed some cute little thing for John to slobber over. So, because John is just so ew.
Oh, I know. It was one of the funnest roles I've ever played, honestly, because it was just all you had to be was just nasty, smarmy, and didn't even matter.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to act like you cared.
You just, you didn't have to brush your hair. You just came in, just ew. But yeah.
So I love the fact that you played a character and wrote the same character. Now, I'm assuming that there was probably an epiphany or two as an actor performing a role. What epiphany did you have as a writer writing this role? Or do you feel you learned all you needed to playing her and then just try to express that through the writing? What was something that you were like, wow, I never would have known that had I not attempted to write this play?
The thing that I learned about her, that I don't, I mean, and I don't know if this is true, because we really have no way. I don't think she loved Richard any more than any of her other kids. I just think Richard was the only one that allowed her to manipulate him. I think she was in love with Henry. I mean, in love with him, and I think he was in love with her, but I think they hated each other, because you can be in love with someone and not like them.
Oh yeah.
So I think, So I think a lot of finding out what does she really want? And in essence, she wanted power. And Henry was a means to an end. Richard was a means to an end. She was an awful human being.
Well, they were
what we do know about her, she was just not a nice person. So I think the only people that she truly loved with her heart was probably her sister and her father. And I think that was probably it.
Yeah. So was it harder to play the character, or was it harder to write the character, and why?
I'm probably going to say play, because by the time I got to write the few scenes that I wrote, I had a better understanding of who she was. I would love, I mean, I've had the privilege of the two stage readings that we've done. I read her alongside the gentleman that played Henry. He read Henry also, the incredibly talented Gary Henderson. I want to play her again. And the nice thing is being my age, I've got plenty of time. I can play her again. I can play her for 10, 15 years. So she'd be very different next time. And I can't wait to play her again. I'm being hopeful. I'm going to play her again.
Well, if you dream it, you can certainly make it happen. And it is just such an incredible story. It's an incredible play. And you guys have done a fantastic job about expanding not only on that story, but also on these wonderfully colorful characters. I mean, wow, what a point in time. And I hate to state the obvious, but those Game of Thrones type of power plays that went on, and the way that sacrifice fell to families is just really something to see. And I find it so interesting. if you were to ever dip your toes back into storytelling, what did this teach you about that process? And how would that empower you to be able to do it again if the muse struck?
Put myself as the character. Write it from my point of view as the character.
And would that be the same of everyone in the show? I'm really curious as an actor. I know you convey what you think is, and you're so constricted. I say constricted. There are brackets within script, staging, all of those great things. Did you find a freedom as an actor to write? Did that open you up and allow you to explore from a place that a playwright may not necessarily have the experience of being on a stage, knowing what the actual practical process is of playing a role? Was that a help or a hindrance for you?
No, I think it definitely was, because there were so many things. When you find a role that you love doing so much within a play that is so rich and so full, you can never have a long enough rehearsal period or a long enough runtime. It just doesn't, it doesn't happen. So being able to sit down and write out some of the dialogue, it's almost like, this is what I wish I could have said at the time. This is what Eleanor should have said. But then I also took some of the message or what she did say and not use it, but try to reflect back on it as her 6 years later.
Wow. Just, these things are so amazing to me. And I just find so much interest in how some of these great stories have come from these ideas. So I'm going to ask you to speak for Rusty for a second. I'm assuming you had a conversation or two about hitting a wall, or how do we get past this? What are some of the challenges that Rusty expressed to you? You say you focused a lot on Eleanor. He had what, 20 other people to write? I think. What were some of the things that he echoed to you in terms of his struggles of being able to complete the cast, so to speak?
To be honest, he never really did. It was more, if you, knowing in his 3 shows that he's written, that I have directed, he likes a lot of people in his cast. And so it was like, I don't think we need that many people. So trying to pare it down. So that's why Philip was taken out, and I wanted Catherine, the servant girl, I wanted her expanded. So it was just talking to him about, okay, how can we make the people that we have, the people that we know, the people that William wrote about, and expand them, but then only add people that are going to enrich the story. And I think he did a really good job of that.
Oh yeah.
He really didn't run anything by me, which I didn't expect him to. It was more me sitting, because he is the writer. So I deferred to him. So it was me sending him pages and saying, okay, do with this what you will. And then he would move it around and use things here and use things here. He definitely surprised me with some of the twists and turns in the show. I did not know Richard was going to do what Richard does. I didn't know that. And so when he's sending me, versions of this, and I'm reading it, I'm like, holy crap. And so it was like, it was new for me. So it was fun to read. And I texted him and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Or I'd send him a text, or it was, maybe we need to expand this a bit. So I don't think we ever really talked about any roadblocks or walls that we hit. It was just more of, I don't think maybe we're going in the right direction with this, or let's expand this person, or you've got it. You've nailed this guy right here. Richard is, wow.
So I'm going to put you on the spot one more time.
Okay.
You say how much you love this character.
Yeah.
And then you talk about what a wonderful experience it was with no roadblocks and how you were able to purge things late in the dark hours of the night. To me, this sounds like it was a very cathartic, wonderful experience for you. Where does your hesitation lie in doing it again?
I guess I just have to wait and see what inspires me. I don't know, because it was just so close, and it was right after we started on it, right after I closed that show. So and it wrote really quickly. For his other shows, he's taken a year or so to write, and we did it pretty quickly. And granted, it went through some changes after the stage readings, and we took advice and commentary from fellow actors and writers and directors and people that love the story as much as I do. And so that definitely helped. But I just don't, a lot of it is I just don't really have a desire to do it again.
Well, hopefully.
And granted, that could change.
I was going to say never. And I'm going to, I want you to text me back and say, here I go again. And this is what did it, because I'm always so interested in the muse of art and what it is that really kicks us forward. And many of us want to, but there's got to be the right trigger to do it right. And
I will say a lot of it was selfishness, because it was like, how can I do this character on stage again? And I really wanted that. I want to be her on stage again, whether it's in Lion again or whether it's in Ashes. And a lot of it is just, okay, as an actor, this is what I want to do on stage. I want to play her on stage. I want to say these words on stage.
Well, the heart of it certainly shows in the script. And I don't think it was selfish at all, because it gave us a great story. So hats off to you. And again,
thank you.
I just want to continue to encourage, because maybe if we do, we'll get another great story out of you.
Okay. I'm not gonna promise anything.
That's okay. Here's one of those questions that everybody hates and I love. Give me a one-word description of how you describe your submission. What's it really about? One word.
Passion.
Passion. Well done. I can't wait for people to see it this Thursday. We are so very grateful that you guys hammered it out and got it to us, and cannot wait to share it with everybody out there.
Well, thank you for doing what you're doing. And
that's
kind
what
words.
we do.
We're very excited.
Well, we can't do it without you. And we, again, just seriously are so excited to have this opportunity to share these great stories by what I consider to be a extremely valuable asset of local talent in Dallas-Fort Worth. And our goal is to continue to do all we can to platform these great stories, because there is a lot of talent in this area. And we just want to make sure we're doing all we can to bring as much acknowledgement to it as possible. So
we do.
All right,
have a wealth of talent.
Oh, it's really amazing. And part of me thinks we're really going to see an explosion and a renaissance in itself once we're all able to get back and do what it is that we love. So
yeah, I think once really auditions really start to come out and start to get posted, I think there's going to be a wealth of plentiful, wonderful actors are going to be knocking on doors, because everybody's just going to want to work.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
All right. Well, is your lean cuisine done? Is it? Did I talk so much that it's cold?
I can rewarm it.
All right, that's okay. It's just tell everybody how delicious it is, and luckily some of the benefits about some of these virtual performances is we can get away with a lot more than we could when people are actually there to be able to smell the food and do all of those things too. So
it's quite good.
Good. All right. Well, I am pulling mine out of the pan there. I don't know if I can catch a little live action smoke there, but it is steaming a little bit. And once again, I managed to not burn the kitchen down. So I will
always good
squeeze that together. I'm going to move on with my presentation of a red, hot, and blue hot link sandwich there. The lean cuisine looks as delicious as always. Any final words of wisdom or thoughts for the folks that are out there joining us today?
Just when it's time, get to the theater. Go see a show, whether or not you're on, if you can be on stage, but go be in an audience, support that theater.
Best thing I've heard all day, for sure. All right. Give our love to Rusty. We are so excited to share your story this Thursday. That wraps up another edition of Box Lunch for us. We'll be back next Monday with a brand new one. Lean cuisine, red, hot, and blue. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to those around you. We'll see you guys again real soon. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bon appetit. Bye-bye.